listening to Transformational Thinkers with Sara Sheehan, the global podcast where growth-minded CEOs and executive leaders get real-world strategies on business transformation, talent development, and mastering change management. Each episode brings actionable lessons, candid conversations with C-level innovators, and human capital strategies from around the world. If you're ready to scale, optimize your organization, and lead breakthrough change, you're in the right place. Let's unlock enterprise growth and success together. I'm talking about a topic today that is incredibly important and very timely. The change management imperatives for agentic AI transformations. Agentic AI is not another software rollout. It is not the next ERP implementation, cloud migration, or digital workflow upgrade. Agentic AI, autonomous systems capable of planning, reasoning, deciding, and acting with minimal human oversight, is the most consequential organizational transformation in the history of modern enterprise. And if you treat it the way most organizations have treated every digital transformation before it, you will fail. The research is clear, the pattern is consistent, and the stakes have never been higher. I have led change management work across more than 30 years of large-scale transformations. I have sat at the table for 19 SAP implementations, other packaged global ERP and CRM rollouts, custom application development, outsourcing, pure strategy, organization restructuring, and merger integrations. I have watched organizations pour capital into technology and systematically underfund the human side of the equation. And I can tell you with certainty, every bad investment I have witnessed was a change management failure, not a technology failure. Agentic AI will amplify that pattern unless we do something fundamentally different. The imperatives below are not theoretical. They are what I have seen work and what I know will determine whether your agentic AI investment transforms your organization or simply drains it. Imperative number 1, full C-suite ownership, starting with the CEO, CFO, and CIO. Before any other decision is made about your agentic AI transformation, this question must be answered. Who owns it? Not the project manager, not the CIO's direct report, not the AI Center of Excellence operating in a silo. The CEO, the CFO, and the CIO must own this transformation visibly, directly, and with the kind of committed leadership that the rest of the organization can see and feel. BCG's 2026 AI Radar research found that C-level executives and leadership teams who are deeply engaged with AI are 12 times more likely to be among the top 5% of companies winning with AI innovation. 12 times. That is not a marginal advantage. That is the difference between a transformation that scales and one that stalls in pilot purgatory. In 2026, 72% of CEOs now report acting as the primary decision maker on AI in their organizations, twice the share from the prior year. That shift is the right signal. The question is whether the commitment runs deeper than a press release. Visible, committed C-suite leadership means the CEO is in the all-hands meeting, making the case for why this matters. It means the CFO has personally reviewed the budget allocation and can articulate the investment thesis to the board. It means the CIO is not just the technical owner, but the strategic partner shaping how agentic AI integrates with every critical enterprise system. When the organization sees the CEO and CFO aligned, when they hear consistent messaging from the C-suite rather than fragmented signals from the middle management team, the entire posture towards change shifts. Employees do not trust transformations led from the middle. They trust transformations led from the top. ProSize research quantifies what the trust is worth. Organizations with active executive sponsorship and visible leadership support report a 73% success rate in change initiatives, compared to only 29% for those lacking such support. That gap, 73% versus 29%, is the C-suite's direct contribution to ROI. If the CEO, CFO, and CIO are not in front and center throughout the transformation, your odds of success cut in half before you begin. Agentic AI transformations require this level of executive ownership, not because it's politically appropriate, but because the scope of organizational change required, roles redefined, workflows redesigned, governance structures built from scratch, can only be sustained by authority that lives at the top. Imperative number 2, change management must be 30% of the budget. Let me say what no one in the room wants to say out loud. The way most organizations have funded change management in the past has been a form of organizational negligence. In my experience, change management has historically represented mostly 5%, at times up to 10% of a project budget, if it was explicitly funded at all. There were no real behavior change plans. There were no sustainment strategies for after the consultants left. There was a readiness assessment, a change network launch, a training plan, a communication plan and calendar, and the organization called it done. Agentic AI transformations require a fundamentally different investment model. Research consistently points to a minimum of 30% of the total project budget dedicated to change management activities, covering communication architecture, stakeholder engagement, training and upskilling, role redesign, behavior change plans, and sustainment strategies that outlast the implementation team. This number is not arbitrary. It is anchored in BCG's foundational framework for AI value creation, which establishes that 10% of AI transformation value comes from algorithms, 20% from data and technology, and 70% from people and processes. If 70% of the value lives in the human side of the equation, then funding only 5 to 10% of the budget to address it is not a conservative strategy. It is a guarantee of failure. What does fully funded change management actually include? It includes a dedicated change management resource and team, not a project manager absorbing change work as a secondary responsibility, but a qualified professional whose singular focus is adoption. It includes behavior change plans structured in a 30, 60, 90-day frameworks that define what doing your job differently actually looks like for each affected role. It includes readiness assessments conducted at multiple points throughout the project, not just a kickoff. It includes two-way feedback loops within the change network so that problems surface early rather than exploding at go live. And critically, it includes sustainment strategies designed to operate after the implementation team disbands. And I'd also offer that identification of business impacts and mitigating action plans are absolutely critical. The sustainment gap is where most transformations die. The consultants leave, the go live happens, the hypercare period ends, and 6 months later, employees have quietly reverted to their old workflows because no one designed a system to reinforce the new behaviors. With agentic AI, that reversion is not just inefficient. It is a governance and risk failure because agents that go unsupervised or are circumvented by workarounds create liability that the organization did not plan for. Sustainment must be funded from the beginning, not retrofitted after the fact. That requires budget, and that budget starts at 30%. Imperative number 3, design, build, and operate with a consulting partner. The best agentic AI transformations I have observed are not designed in-house. handed off to a technology vendor, and hoped for the best. They are designed, built, and operated in partnership with a consulting firm that has deep expertise in both the technology and the organizational change required to make it work. In many cases, the change management expertise is brought from a partner like me, and the consulting team is supportive of bringing change management to the project as a necessity. This is not a sales argument for large consulting firms. It is a structural reality of agentic AI deployments. Agentic systems are not static tools. They evolve. They encounter edge cases the original design did not anticipate. They require ongoing calibration as business processes change and as agent capabilities expand. McKinsey's analysis of the agentic organization underscores that competitive advantage comes not from deploying individual AI tools, but from redesigning the enterprise around the human AI collaboration, a continuous design challenge, not a one-time implementation. That ongoing design work requires expertise that most internal teams do not yet have. When a consulting partner is deeply embedded in the design and build phase, they bring three critical capabilities. First, they bring pattern recognition from other deployments. They know where the process breaks, where the governance gaps appear, where employee resistance concentrates. Second, they bring change management methodology that is integrated with the technical architecture from day one, not appended as a project phase at the end. Third, they bring the ability to resolve problems quickly when agents behave unexpectedly, workflows stall, or integration points break, because they understand both the system and the organizational context surrounding it. Deloitte's 2025 analysis found that only approximately 11 to 14% of agentic AI experiments are in production at most organizations. The gap between experimentation and production is precisely where an experienced consulting partner earns the engagement. Organizations that attempt to close the gap with internal resources alone consistently find themselves unable to move fast enough, missing the governance requirements and discovering too late that their change management strategy was underpowered for the scope of the transformation. A consulting partner keeps the processes operational, solves problems at the speed the business requires, and ensures the transformation does not stall the moment the first real-world complexity emerges. Imperative number 4, the transformation must be business-led to drive measurable outcomes. Agentic AI transformations that are owned by the technology function and managed as IT projects produce technology. Agentic AI transformations that are owned by the business and managed as a business transformation produce outcomes. The difference between those two realities is the difference between a failed investment and a competitive advantage. Business-led transformation means that the business unit leaders, not the CIO's team, are setting the success criteria. It means the VP of operations is defining what a 40% reduction in process cycle time looks like in their function. And the change management program is designed to enable that specific outcome. It means the CFO is not simply approving the budget line, they are setting the financial performance benchmarks that the transformation is accountable to. McKinsey's work on the agentic organization is explicit. Successful deployments start with value-focused use cases scoped around existing business priorities, measured by outcomes like cycle time and quality rather than technology demos. PwC reinforces the point with a framework that every sponsor of an agentic AI project should internalize. Technology accounts for approximately 20% of an initiative's value, while the other 80% comes from redesigning work, mapping where AI agents own the process, where humans do, and where oversight operates at each step. That 80% is a business decision. It requires business judgment, domain expertise, and accountability that lives in operating units, not in the IT organization. Business-led transformation also means that when the organization faces difficult trade-offs inherent with agentic AI, which processes to automate, which human decisions to preserve, how to handle exceptions the agents cannot manage, those decisions are made by the people who understand the business consequences, not the people who understand the technology constraints. Those are different conversations, and they require different ownership. Imperative number 5, do not restructure until the work is fully tested and implemented. I want to address one of the most damaging mistakes I have seen organizations make in transformation programs. Restructuring the organization before the work is tested and stable. Announcing layoffs, role eliminations, or significant organizational redesign before an agentic AI program is fully implemented and validated does not accelerate the transformation. It undermines it. When employees believe that the primary purpose of an agentic AI transformation is to eliminate their roles, engagement collapses. A 2025 survey found that 89% of workers expressed concern about AI's impact on their job security, with 65% fearing for their own roles specifically. Enterprise AI adoption research found that 29% of employees admit to actively undermining their company's AI strategy, a figure that rises to 44% among Gen Z workers. These are not irrational fears. They are predictable human responses to organizational threat signals. If you are sending those signals before the agents are even operational, you are engineering your own resistance. The right sequence is this: design the agentic AI workflows, build the governance structure, pilot the agents, test them rigorously, and implement them fully before making structural decisions about the workforce. Go into the transformation with the explicit goal of retraining, shifting and providing opportunity for your people wherever possible. Most agentic AI implementations do not eliminate jobs wholesale. They eliminate tasks and reshape roles. The person who previously spent 60% of their time processing structured data can now spend that 60% on exception handling, customer interaction, and strategic judgment. That is a role evolution, not a role elimination. And it requires a retraining plan, not a severance package. Kotter's 8-step change model emphasizes generating short-term wins as a critical lever for sustaining transformation momentum. Restructuring before implementation destroys short-term wins before they can be generated. Employees who survive a pre-implementation reduction in force are not your change champions. They are your most cautious observers. Wait. Test, implement, then make informed evidence-based decisions about organizational structure with data on what the agents actually do, what work remains, and where human capability is genuinely needed. McKinsey describes the workforce design challenge in the agentic organization as moving humans above the loop into roles as designers of intelligent workflows, stewards of data integrity, governors of autonomous systems, and guardians of judgment and ethics. Those are not lesser roles. They are higher value roles, but designing them requires knowing what the agents actually produce in a live environment. You cannot do that design work honestly until the implementation is tested and stable. The human work is the strategic work. Agentic AI is going to reshape every industry, every function, and every operating model in the enterprise over the next decade. The organizations that win will not be the ones with the most sophisticated technology stack. They will be the ones that made the harder, more disciplined investment in C-suite ownership that did not waver, in change management budgets that reflected the actual scope of human transformation required, in consulting partnerships that kept the systems operational and the problem solved, in business leadership that drove accountability to measurable outcomes, and in a workforce strategy that led with opportunity rather than elimination. I have spent 30 years in the room where these decisions are made. The technology has changed dramatically. The human equation has not. Agentic AI is not the exception. It is the amplification. Get the human side right, and the technology delivers its promise. Get it wrong, and you'll have spent a great deal of money to automate your own dysfunction. As you reflect on today's discussion and think about the challenges that you are faced with in your workplace, prioritize adoption in the process. Look for the Meet With Me link in the show notes to explore how I can help you navigate change with ease. Thanks so much for listening. Share your thoughts in the comments.